Greetings, fam! It's me, your boy, B3, back with another great action figure review. I've had this figure since it came out, just now getting around to it. I have literal stacks of stuff I'm reviewing, and I'm always getting more. So, I just kind of review what I feel like reviewing. And today we are reviewing the Mezco King Kong of Skull Island figure. It was a figure I was very excited for. One, because when the Monster Arts Kong was cheap, I didn't want it. And two, when I did want the Monster Arts Kong, it was like $400. So, having this really cool, articulatable, adult collectible Kong is something I really, really wanted in my collection. At first I was going to get the black and white one. It comes with extra accessories and has kind of a black and white coloration. But it's an exclusive. They were about the same price, but I really thought this one would just fit better in my collection, and I didn't want to buy them both. So, Mezco King Kong! Here it is. Pretty cool. Another reason I really wanted this is because I'm a big fan of Boom Studios' Kong of Skull Island comic book. And this figure is based on the Kong in that comic book. I'm pretty positive. So, King of Skull Island. If you're the type that likes to just display things in package, you can hang it on the wall, you can sit it up. King Kong of Skull Island. King Kong of Skull Island. Bottom of the box doesn't matter. Back of the box, you have an image of the figure, which looks really nice. Kong always needs a few battle scars, if you ask me. You got chains, a little Andero, a little Feyre. You got interchangeable heads, hands. A little read up there. You can pause and read that if you want. And then there's a little ACBA right there on the back. So, that's it. Let's bust this sucker out of packaging. And here's Kong out of packaging. And he's really, really cool. Detail and paint-wise, he's exactly what I expected. His articulation leaves a tiny bit to be desired. Lots of people in groups and stuff I'm in have been calling him a super articulated figure. But I don't think he doesn't have near enough articulation to be classified as a super articulated figure. Marvel Legends have more articulation than this. So, yeah. That's that. This is my first Mezco, actually. I don't know why that happened. But, I'm very excited to have it in my collection. I feel like other Mezco figures move more because they have that cloth clothing, and so they can hide articulation, and I feel like they, like on Kong, unless you have like a fursuit over him, which I guess they didn't want to do, and I'm kind of glad they didn't do. I'm more of a just sculpted kind of guy. I mean, I like cloth when it's necessary, but on a Kong, I think I just prefer the sculpt. But he is pretty cool. I'm very happy with this purchase. 55 shipped, definitely worth that. Yeah, for sure. So, let's talk about accessories first. You can see he has the closed mouth, kind of calm head. He has two open hands because, he they're cool. He gonna get you. Sorry, I really like the look of this Kong. I'm very happy to have a Kong that represents the comic book, because it's such a good book. I've reviewed all 3 volumes of it on this channel, by the way. Then he has this kind of roaring head, which you do want with your Kong, of course. Kong is a very expressive character, because apes are very expressive. You should know, you are an ape, after all. As am I. At least when I'm not in my reptilian form. But yeah, so it's very happy to have nice expressive faces with Kong. He also comes with the little Andero, who actually looks better than I thought she would. She looks good. She looks real good. Oh, a little too good. I'm going to have to be alone with this later. Just kidding. A little bit. But he's also got a holding hand to hold Miss Darrow. How do you get her in this hand, though, is the question. What's the best way to do this? Okay, I got her in there. I mean, that's not bad. That's aight. I might just leave her in that hand, actually. That's probably easiest. I'm never going to display her outside the hand, so just leave her in the hand. He's also got two fist hands in case you want him pummeling some kaiju or beating his chest classic Kong things to do, which is awesome. And then these very Kong accessories, kind of shackles from when he breaks free in New York. He doesn't go to New York in the comic. That's all prequel stuff. But, I mean, if you're selling a Kong figure, you need to sell some iconically Kong stuff with it, which would be Andero and, of course, shackles. So, yeah, the shackles actually work pretty well. They just pop open. If you want your shackles on Kong, they go on him extremely easily, and they stay on very well. So, the shackles are fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Now let's do the articulation on this figure. The heads don't like to stay on. I don't know why. But it's like not a problem to me, honestly. They stay on well enough. And this isn't a figure for playing around with anyways. This is an adult collectible, so it's fine. They aren't like falling off all the time. Sometimes just when you're moving them, they come off is all. But they aren't just randomly falling off. See, articulation-wise, Kong looks up very far, which is fantastic. You know, you get plenty of side-to-side out of these heads. He moves around a lot. Up! And on that arm. Down on that arm, forward and back, you know. You got a swivel there. Not ab. Elbow. This is why I failed anatomy for funeral service. And then you got lots of movement on the hands, you know, rotations, a little forward and back, side to side action and whatnot. There is torso movement with a little ab, but it's mostly side to side. The legs are where I really have a complaint articulation-wise, because they don't mind. Neither of the legs want to really come forward, you know? That's about as forward as I can get this leg to come. This leg's in the normal spot, this leg's forward. That's not far at all. It can go back really far. Forward, like, not at all, though. In and out's not super great either. And then you got, like, a knee bend, which is fine. It rotates. The feet move just like the hands. Is it well articulated? Yeah. Especially for a Kong. But if articulation is what you care about the most, maybe wait for the Monster Arts 2020 Kong. Because I feel like Monster Arts will probably do a King Kong in 2020. The Monster-verse one. But, until then, I actually say get this guy over the 2004 Kong for real. Because the 2004 Kong is just a gorilla with scars. Whereas this Kong is, like, you look at this gorilla and you're like, that's a Kong. That's a Kong. Even when you take the scars off this, you look at it and you're like, look at that character on that ape. That's a Kong. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that Kong should be more than just a gorilla. You know what I mean? And the 2004 Kong is literally just a gorilla. He was more Mighty Joe Young than King Kong. But, yeah, now let's just do a real quick 360 on the figure. You've already kind of gotten a really good look at detail and paint, but just to give you another idea, you know, it's really all done up on the feet and everything. Kong all around has this nice, beautiful fur. The scars look good. I feel like Kong should have some scars, you know? I mean, he lives in one of the most dangerous places on the planet, and he's all alone. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really nice looking figure, just all around. And now you can get a better look at this head, too, the inside of the mouth and everything. It's a really wonderful figure. Oh, crap. Now let's show Kong off with some other figures. I want to show him with one of my 2004 Kongs. This is a figure I actually like. It's from my childhood. It's got some nostalgia to it. And it's just fun. Here's a 2004 Kong. Yeah, Mezco's a little bigger. Mezco could kick its ass, yeah. But, you know, they would probably get along relatively well. In person. Show him with some other ape-like kaiju. Like Gyra here from YMSF. Pretty small compared to Kong. Which is probably the complaint lots of you will have with Kong, is that he is a little bit bigger than the average kaiju figure. Here's a regular 6-inch Godzilla. Bandai Creations Godzilla 2000 Fusion variant. right? And see, Kong is taller than him. And this is a Godzilla. What about Ultra Monster Series EX? If the fourth form, an Ultraman monster, much taller than If. If is a little undersized normally. So I just want that to be in there for a frame of reference. Another Godzilla, I absolutely wanted to show a monster art with this guy because lots of Monster Arts collectors did opt to get this Kong. So, and it is a high-end adult collectible, just like Monster Arts. Here's a Monster Arts Godzilla 2002 that I got from mycomicsplus.net. Kong just towers over this Godzilla. Oh, jeez. Yeah, so, maybe like a 6-inch Raymundo or YMSF Kong, or maybe like one of the Kongs I showed before, or even the Monster Arts Kong will go better with your 6 inches. I feel like that might be a roadblock for a lot of collectors, is the size of this Kong, because it's more of a 7-inch figure. It'll be a little big for some of your other figs. You know, your 6 inches, which is what lots of kaiju collectors prefer to collect. I feel like every kaiju collector I know prefers to collect either right around the 6-inch scale, or just like giant, the biggest kaiju figures they can find, like huge X pluses. You know what I mean? But I'm going to show them with an 8-inch figure. One of my favorite Godzilla figures, actually. I don't show it enough, and I really should. The Ban Presto Godzilla 2003, whose tail is so long. But yeah, he's 8-inch, and lots of you might prefer that sizing, because I feel like lots of collectors would rather have Kong be smaller than Godzilla than bigger. But there aren't a lot, if any, Godzilla figures that are realistically sculpted and stuff and painted in the 7-inch scale. It's like all 6 and 8-inch around that size. So, pick your poison. But I don't care. I don't care if he scales well with Godzillas, because he's not designed well. He is designed well. He's not designed to scale well with Godzillas. He is a Kong. You know? This figure is kind of just supposed to stand alone. It's not really... Scale wasn't something they were really thinking about when they made it. They just made it in their regular Mezco scale. I do want to show it with one other figure, and I think it will scale well with this figure. I didn't test it beforehand. I'm just hoping it will. Here is a Diamond Select Pacific Rim Jaeger November Ajax. I think that's a good scale. I think that's fun. Because the Pacific Rim figures from Diamond Select are 7-inch scale. Right? November Ajax is a little bigger, yeah, but I think this works. I think that looks good. You know? Let's try my Sophie Spirits Raijin. You know, they actually look pretty good together, too. They actually do. So, maybe some of the more recent Pacific Rim figures will look better with Kong. You know? I wasn't gonna show one of these in this review. I'm gonna show them with 2 more figures that I wasn't gonna show in this review, but now I want to, just out of my own curiosity. Actually, let's make it 3. Let's make it 3. First, Robot Spirits Obsidian Fury. Good thing I just have a lot of figures around me at this table at all times. That's not bad. That's pretty cool. That looks good, you know? I mean, obviously this is more of the 30-foot tall kind of Kong, but if you want him to be a Daikaiju Kong, you know, it all depends. Here is the NECA Wave 2 Battle Damage Gypsy Danger. Later Gypsy Dangers were a little bigger than that one, but that's kind of cool too. One more figure, this one you might not have expected to see. The Power Rangers Legacy Build-A-Megazord Zeo Megazord. That one's probably too big, actually. Yeah, maybe that one's maybe a little big for Kong. But yeah, I kind of like to think of my Kong as on like equal standing with other kaiju and not as a tiny little Kong. And you know, Kong has changed size a lot over the years, and he changes size a lot in his own original movie. But all in all, he's really cool. So all in all, what are my final thoughts on the Mezco King Kong of Skull Island figure? Well, remember, it's for ages 18 and up. Very cool figure. If you were expecting like Monster Arts quality or something, look elsewhere. He is much cheaper than pretty much any monster art nowadays. Like the Godzilla you saw earlier, I got for $80, which is actually cheap for that Godzilla. And this guy was $55 with shipping. That's a good deal. For this guy, that's like the perfect price to pay. I think he's a $55 figure for sure. He's got a great size to him. He has plenty of accessories. And it's undeniably Kong. You see this figure and you think, that's Kong. You can't really get him into the all four like Knuckles pose, but I don't like my Kongs to be in that pose anyways. I like my Kongs standing up erect like this. Because, one, it shows that he's more than just a big gorilla. And two, it brings an air of strength and intelligence to him above a regular gorilla. Like, he looks more intelligent when he stands on his hind legs because that's associated with intelligence in apes. Like us humans. And it also makes him look stronger because like his muscles, chest muscles are all showing now when they would have been kind of hidden if he was on all fours. And you can see his arms like really held up. You can see more of him, and that gives him the impression of being stronger as well. So that's why Kong should stand on his hind legs and not walk like a gorilla. Okay, so I don't know if you were expecting Kong philosophy or anything in this video, but you got it. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. If you want to get this guy, I definitely recommend it. If you want to get the black and white version, I think it's good too. Would I get both? I don't know. I don't have both. I can't tell you if that's a good idea. Plus, that probably has to do with your personal preferences as a collector anyways. But I can tell you that this is definitely a good figure. And if you're a kaiju collector or even just a monster or classic film or comic book collector or something, this is a great figure just to have. Not for kids, but for lonely men like me, it's perfect. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Rate, comment, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Dab on haters, and I'll see y'all later.